Hello there everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for joining me today. Now, after last week with Opera Omnia being filled with a lot more events and chaos clears and things like that than I'm used to doing on this channel, this week it's actually a little bit quieter, and we've actually only got one event to cover when it comes to this week, and that's going to be the new story chapter, Act 2, Chapter 8 for Dissidia this week. It was going to come with a Chaos version, and it's going to come with a banner that I think a lot of people are going to want to have a look at. So if that's something that you're interested in, then stay tuned and keep on watching. Don't forget, guys, to check out all of my social media links in the description box below, including Twitter, Twitch, and Discord. On Twitch, actually, on Saturday, we did a 13-hour stream for Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it was absolutely fantastic. I will be continuing to stream that game, certainly while the mobile games are on the quieter side, over the next few days, and I have actually been streaming pretty much every day, so I'd really love it if you guys could come and join me for that. And then this weekend, I actually have another 12, possibly longer, hour stream for Final Fantasy XIV, so I shall leave some links in the description box for that if you want to come along and join me for that. And as always, don't forget to check out my Patreon page as well. I've been so thankful to everybody that's contributed to that, and as always, I will always shout out one of my patrons for every video that I make, and this time around that's going to be Raelius, who was actually present for my FF7 stream, so thank you ever so much for coming down to that and for supporting the channel further. Something I get asked a lot, actually, before we go into the events and stuff this week, is that I should really bring back my Should You Pull videos. Now, I have actually kind of been doing that within my weekly videos. I always try to kind of encompass a bit of everything within my videos, whether it's just not just the events, but also the characters that are coming out and whether you should pull on these banners or not. I've just kind of, because I don't title the video Should You Pull, and I've kind of tried to structure things a bit differently. I think people possibly might be a bit confused as to where I'm going with the video. So what I'm actually doing is I'm experimenting with trying out some new structural changes to the way I do my weekly videos. So if that's something that you like, then let me know in the comments below, or if you want me to change anything differently about the channel, then definitely let me know. This channel is for you guys as much as it is me, so definitely let me know what kind of things you'd like to see with this channel going forwards. As always as well, don't forget to check out DissidiaDB.com, as it's a very, very good resource that I get a lot of my information from when it comes to recommending characters, what those characters do, etc. Not only those guys, but I also really want to turn attention to the fact that Tonbury Troop, who are very well known in the community for their wonderful infographics, has actually released their own website, and they're actually really, really potent with what they do. They do some amazing stuff. Their infographics have been useful to me and many, many other players for a long time now, so definitely go and check out their website. Go and support those guys. They absolutely deserve it, and they do wonderful work. So thank you very much to the Tonbury Troop for everything that you guys do. And of course, don't forget to check out all of the other content creators for Opera Omnia. There's loads of us, and we all appreciate your support just as much as me. So as you can see from the little menu transition you saw there, what I'm actually going to be doing is splitting my weekly videos into sections. So one where I'm going to be talking about the events that are coming out over the week and how you can prepare for them. One where I'm talking about the banners that are going to be available and the characters, little overview as I have done previously. And then finally I should be changing into a Should You Pull video, where I will, a section of the video where I'll give you guys some advice on whether I think a banner is worth your resources or not, and give you guys the advice that you've been asking me for a while now. And then hopefully, if there's anything extra, I've also got another section, so whether there's like costumes that are coming out or anything else that needs to be spoken about when it comes to Opera Omnia within a week, then I will cover that sort of stuff as well. But for now, we're just going to talk about the one event that we have this week, which is going to be Act 2, Chapter 8 of the story, where we're going to see some, well, it's a story chapter, so we're going to get a nice amount of gems from it. So as much as there's only one event this week, at least we'll get a fair amount from it. It'll come with some co-op quests as well. So if you're struggling on the Chaos event for this, then at least you can bear in mind that it's got a co-op for a couple of weeks, so you can bring a couple of other people with you, which means 2 extra summons. Like, it'll make it so much easier. And the enemies that you can come to expect in this, it'll be 2 waves, the first of which is going to be a Skull Dragon and a Skull Wizard. So if you remember the Skull Wizard from Kefka's event, it's going to just do regular debuffs, and then it will use its occasional Candle in the Wind attack, which you will want to be careful of. So if it's brazenly smirking, then prepare yourself for an HP attack. Now, this event is very much based around Galuf and Leo, as they're the banner characters. So you're definitely going to want to bring a tank along to this event, sorry. But the main reason for that actually isn't the first wave at all, it's the second wave, which is going to be the Demon Wall. Now, Demon Wall is a big enemy within Final Fantasy, and it's something we all know very, very well. And it's the music for this event is kick-ass, by the way, just putting it out there. But the thing you're going to want to be afraid of when it comes to the Demon Wall is its recharge attack. Now, we've seen plenty of enemies that have recharge attacks now, but the Demon Wall's one is particularly scary if you don't have a way of healing the damage that he deals or a way of tanking some of the damage that he deals. Ideally, both. Because what he does is he raises his bravery pretty high and then does an AoE brave attack and then HP attack on top of it. So basically what you're expected to do is bring a character like Zack, bring a character like Galuf along with you that can tank some of that damage and then heal it off later with a different character. Leo has HP regens in his aura kit, so it's expected that you're bringing characters like that along with you. And to warn you now, the Demon Wall has, much like many Chaos fights at this point in time, a lot of health. It will take quite a while to bring this thing down, but as I said, because you can take it into a co-op version, at least for the first couple of weeks, then that will make it a lot easier for you. So basically you want to bring somebody that can tank some damage, somebody that can heal damage, and then a big old damage dealer. So pretty regular team composition at this point. There's lots of characters that you could bring along. There you've got the 3 synergy characters, which are Lillicet, Galuf, and Leo, and all 3 of them will work very well. Penelo will work very well here, Zack will work very well here. There's, like, Paladin Cecil will probably work very well here. We've got access to delay like crazy. Like, Leo has delay in his kit, we've got Vayne still, we've got Aranea still. All those characters are going to perform really, really well in this particular event, just because you're just going to hit this thing really hard. It's not immune, like, it doesn't have any resistance to physical damage or anything, so you just go to town on it. And then the first wave, it's a Skull Wizard and a Skull Dragon. We fought these things so many times that they shouldn't really be posing a problem for you. But leave a comment below if we get to that point on the 15th and you do struggle to kind of clear it or anything like that, and then I will see if I can respond to you and, like, let me know what characters you want to take with you, and I'll let you know if maybe you want to change one of the characters out. We've got Discord and everything available as well, so if you want to go on there and chat about your strategies or how you want to improve and how you want to get through an event more easily, then you can come and join us on there. As I said, because it's a single target boss, this is an event that you could quite easily cheese, like cheesing being just a way to get around the event without actually having to put much effort in, because we have characters like Leo, like Vayne, like Ishtola, like Aranea that can just make it so it never gets an attack off in the first place. However, another character I would like to point out when it comes to any enemy where their primary threat is a recharge-based attack is Edge. So if you can time Edge's EX attack and having the buff so that your party's got full evasion for when that attack goes off, then you never really have to worry about it. Galuf has a very similar mechanic as well, so it makes it so that it's very hard for you to take too much damage. So while this thing has an awful lot of health and it can be really scary if you're unprepared for it, if you're prepared for it, this thing actually really shouldn't cause you many problems at all. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cover the characters that are going to be featured on the banner that will be available alongside the event that's coming up this week. And while we only have the one banner, the 2 featured, or main featured characters on it in Galuf and Leo are actually very significant and I think warrant a nice amount of discussion about them. So we're going to start with Galuf. Now Galuf has a rework alongside his EX and DX realization, and it's a really significant one because Galuf was always a tank character that kind of fell to the wayside because he only really could deal with physical attacks. And while that's still somewhat the case with Galuf here, he's EX realization, his rework really brings him up there with your Zacks, your Warrior of Lights, your Barshes as a really strong tank, and honestly, more tanks is never a bad thing. So first of all, before we go into the rework itself, we're going to look at his Crystal 65 ability, which is an ability that increases uses of both of his skills and increases party max Brave overflow for 5 turns, and he also gets an extension on that from his Bloomstone that makes it so that it will last for another 4 turns. Now that's actually really quite significant. He only gets the 1 use of it, but it's really, really long lasting. He gets abilities and he gets something out of it for the entire party. He also has some amazing auras because his Crystal 68 passive increases party attack by 20%. His auras from some of his other stuff, he can grant up to 70%, I believe, in terms of attack to the entire party. So he's, just by being present, makes your party members that much stronger. But going into the rework itself, the main changes that you want to be looking at are the fact that the buffs are increased by quite a long way, because with cover, it doesn't actually have an HP attack or anything attached to it at the end, which isn't actually a bad thing, because it means that you can do it just before an enemy turn and you'll be able to battery your team really nicely, really quickly. But his HP attack plus is significantly stronger because previously it was just a one-hit brave HP attack, but now it increases his bravery based on his max bravery before doing the brave HP attack, and that's actually really significant. And all of the buff times are increased, the amount of max bravery buff that your party members receive is buffed. This is actually really quite significant. And then with Blade Block, you actually get a follow-up attack with 3 hits, which is really nice. You get a little bit of Brave Overflow on it, up to 150% when using Blade Block Plus, because like other FF5 characters, Galuf has a mastery system, which means that you want to use the ability at least once early, so you have access to the plus versions of them, which are significantly stronger. And then his counter attack, while his dodge is a little bit stronger as well. It hits more, and it gives a little bit of brave refund after he's done it as well, because obviously with any counter attacking character, if you get more than one enemy fighting you at the same time, you want to make sure that you're able to take the attacks in order for you to counter them. But this actually does make a huge difference to him, and his Brave Attack Plus is stronger. It's 2 hits instead of just the 1, and it's really quite strong. So without going into his EX at all, Galuf has gone from, like, not a meme as such, because he was always really quite strong. He was just very much a forgotten character, and it really does make his longevity, his damage, that much higher. And obviously when he gets some evasion out of things from Blade Block and in combination of cover, he actually works really well with other tanks, which is something that many tanks can't really say. So you could stick Zac and Galuf together, Zac lock everything onto him, and then so that his power gets increased, so when he's hitting things they are still targeting him, and then you have Galuf who is then covering Zac so that Zac's not taking damage, or for the most part Galuf is, and then he's countering things and dealing brave HP attacks all in the same time. And this is before we've even looked at his EX, so I think that Galuf is definitely a character worth looking at. So now we'll take a look at Galuf's EX weapon, which is Ice Brand, and gives him dual wield Blade Blitz. Now this attack doesn't, when you look at the attack itself, it's a single target brave HP attack that has 150% overflow. Doesn't really look like much, but then you notice its recast rate is fast, so after all of the buffs and everything, after a single skill use or a couple of uses of HP plus, you're actually going to be able to use the EX multiple times. And the buff that you get from this in Soul of the Dawn fixes every single issue that Galuf had up until this point. It raises his attack and evasion rate by 60%, which in combination with Shiva and Ramuh's passives, this is his entire evasion rate. It's not just for physical attacks, so he can now dodge magic attacks. He won't counter them if they're magic attacks, but he'll still evade them. So while you've got this amazing kit for physical attacks, now he isn't quite so scared of magic either. He also gets HP regen, which is sorely needed because he's one of the few tanks that didn't have it up until this point, and now he does, so he's not quite so reliant on outside sources to heal him. It also reduces bravery damage taken by the party by 40%. Now Selphie's Wall only decreases it by 30%, so this is actually stronger for brave damage decreasing than Selphie's Wall, so it's actually really, really strong. And then with the realization, you get more Brave Overflow limit, you get more stats out of it. You also get some Brave refunded when you use it. So for an attack that's really strong, at least for occurring so regularly, you can actually get some bravery back for doing it, and there's literally no reason why you wouldn't use this every opportunity you get it, because the longevity of the buffs you're granted by cover and blade block after the rework now last as long as they do. You start with Soul of the Dawn, which means that his evasion rate is straight away off the bat really, really strong. You can use that first cover, which the first cover you use before you get cover plus only targets one party member, so you just kind of read the situation, see who's being attacked, and cover them first, and then you'll still be able to go off and do everything you need to do with that. And also for a first turn, no action delay, no turn count, so he gets to set up before he's done anything. And then when you 3 out of 3 it, he gets more brave hits, more brave overflow limits, so he's pretty much going to be hitting for 5/9s every time he uses his attack on a single target, which, you know, at least he's getting damage in, and the primary source of his damage is going to be his counter attacks. So don't rely on this for damage so much, but at least you're going to get some. But he also gets an HP attack plus, which is a just strictly stronger version of his HP attack plus, which means that he's going to get a 3-hit brave HP attack, and he's going to be raising his attack, his bravery by his max bravery before he's doing it. It's also got Brave Overflow, and it also raises party damage. It's a fantastic HP attack plus. It's got everything you would want in there. Like Ishtola's isn't as good as this, and it's a really strong HP attack plus, so it's worth it just for having that. And then that sphere is actually pretty good as well. So after evading an attack, it raises attack by 10% for 6 turns. Obviously, it's intended for Galuf himself, but there are other characters that will make use of it. Edge can make use of it, 8 can make use of it. It's actually a really good sphere. 10% is a really high value to raise your attack by for 6 turns from a sphere. So honestly, I think Galuf is a really strong tank, and certainly, while most people on this banner are actually going to be looking at Leo before they're going to be looking at Galuf, I actually think that Galuf is just as much a prize as Leo is. So now let's have a look at Leo. Now Leo is a character that's been hyped up by a lot of players for quite some time, and he's finally going to be arriving for us on the 15th this week. So what is it that makes him so hyped up? Now Leo is a character that is very much like Vayne in that he's very focused on a single target. With Concentrated Strike, he inflicts a debuff on an enemy, which he can only inflict to one enemy at a time, which is Breakthrough Point, which raises the amount of damage that that enemy takes from bravery hits. So you can already imagine the kind of combinations that you can fit in with this. If you haven't finished Dimensions N9 already, then this is a great example of a inflicting defense down without inflicting defense down. So this is actually really quite strong. And then you've also got Commander that comes from Concentrated Strike as well, which raises his stats, but also grants your party HP regen. Now this is actually really quite useful, just because Leo is an offensive character that has HP regen just straight off the bat, and it means that you've got characters that you can take along with him that maybe are support characters that don't have HP or healing capacities, so characters like Cryo will work really well with him. And then you've also got Master Blade, which doesn't sound like much from here, which is a melee brave HP attack triggered 4 times and raises bravery, but with both his Crystal 60 passive and his weapon 35 CP weapon passive, both of these give this attack delay, which means that it's going to have delay for 2 turns every time you use this, and you get more uses out of this from his passives and things like that as well. It's actually a really strong attack. It also, when you get his 60 passive, it also increases the number of hits that it does to double, so it's 2 brave attacks plus HP attacks, and that actually works really well with Concentrated Point. A lot of people have said that they didn't want to pull for Leo because they already had Aranea, but quite frankly, having Leo and Aranea together is disgusting. Like, you're almost guaranteed between Concentrated Strike, Vital Crusher, and whatever or whatever attack buffs you happen to have alongside you, and all the delay that you get from both of them. I don't understand why people wouldn't want to put them both together. The pair together will wreck practically anything that doesn't resist them. It's such a powerful combination. And then obviously we've got Vayne as well, throwing him in the mix. I mean, he's got the attack auras. You could honestly run all 3 of these characters and it'd be absolutely fine. And then if you're against a single target boss, they're just never going to get a turn. And then you also get Brave Attack Plus and HP Attack Plus from the Commander buff off of his 55 passive, which is really nice. Like, you'll get party buffs out of Leo, you get party batterying out of Leo, you get HP regen, you get a very similar debuff to Vital Crusher, and it all works very, very nicely together. And you also get like a lot of max bravery out of Leo as well, which with characters like Aranea and Vayne are going to be really useful. So he's kind of like a more support-oriented version of those 2 characters. So he just brings a little bit of everything to like that these characters would want. You've got like good stats, you've got good attacks, you've got delay, you've got support capabilities, you've got HP regen, so he works well with support characters that don't have HP regen, and it all comes off of like a general as well, so he doesn't actually take up too many slots for buffs as well. Something I should have mentioned with Galuf actually is that Galuf does grant a lot of unframed buffs and a lot of framed buffs to himself, so he's not going to work so well with characters like Beatrix, whereas Leo actually can. So there's something to bear in mind when it comes to using these 2 characters. And I think Leo is a fantastic character, and we haven't even looked at his EX yet. So Leo's EX here gives him the ability Shock, which is a 4-hit AoE Brave HP attack with a normal recast rate. So again, he's going to be doing really well when it comes to just getting his EX off very regularly, and you'll see when we get to his EX realization why you're going to want to use it as frequently as physically possible. And it gets 150% max bravery, all that random stuff. It's split damage, which isn't ideal, but quite honestly, if it was splash damage or 100% AoE damage, it would be completely broken. And it grants a Gestalian loyalty buff for 3 turns, which raises his attack and your party's max bravery. This is where the max bravery comes from when it comes to Leo, and it just gives more support to the party. You'll get the extension of the Gestalian loyalty for 3 turns, so it's 6 turns, so you will pretty much always have this buff up, which is really great from just his basic. But when we start looking at his realization, this is where things start to get nice and interesting. Now, with just a book, you get probably one of the nicest things out of his realization, which is don't consume ability use on the next turn. So that now means that you have a 2-turn delay attack that you cannot consume uses on. Now, Vayne knows from recovering uses with his abilities from Force of Will how useful this kind of thing is, and Leo will just compound that even further, because you can just delay things to the end of the earth. If you had a party of Aranea, Leo, and Vayne, then if you're against a single boss, I feel sorry for that boss, quite frankly. And then with 1 out of 3, he's going to get a better version of his Brave Attack Plus and HP Attack Plus. So while his HP Attack Plus isn't quite as strong as Galuf's, it's still really good. It's still a 3-hit Brave HP Attack, which if your opponent's got the Concentrated Strike debuff on them, or Vital Crush or anything like that, then you're going to hit them really, really hard with an HP Plus, and that's really just useful to have. He starts with Commander and Gestalian loyalty for 6 turns, so you'll have access to his Brave and HP attack pluses and all those lovely party auras straight away. The HP regen, the max Brave buff from Gestalian loyalty, you get all of that from the beginning of the fight, and by the time it's run out, you'll have cast his EX and you'll have it back again. And then he also inflicts Breakthrough Point on a random target for 6 turns. This is actually really useful for anyone that gets buffs based on whether an enemy is debuffed or not, so characters like Sarah will benefit very, very greatly from this. And then finally, for 3 out of 3, you also get Shock or Shock Plus. So it raises its max Brave overflow limit, but if there's only one target, it turns into Shock Plus, which makes it so that it's not a 4-hit AoE HP attack anymore. It's a 4-hit Brave HP attack and then a 6-hit Brave HP attack. That refunds his bravery between the 2 attacks, kind of like how Garland's does it. So now not only is he delaying, supporting, healing, and debuffing and everything else, he's now hitting like a bus while he's doing it. So between Master Strike and Shock Plus, a single target is just going to suffer. And I actually think that Leo is an extraordinary character to grab. You're going to be able... This is one of those characters that you grab, and if you've got the right combination of characters, you can just breeze through chaos fights with this guy. I think he's absolutely incredible. And then his sphere is actually pretty nice as well, although it's not as good as some of them out there. It raises single target Brave damage by 10%. It's intended for him, and it's okay. Honestly, with spheres, I'm terrible. A lot of people ask me to do sphere guides and how to use their spheres and stuff like that, but I have terrible elixir hoarding syndrome when it comes to spheres, so not sure of how I'm going to go about doing that one. But his sphere is okay. Galuf's is a lot stronger because it raises his stats, so it's going to be a lot more useful in more than one fight. Because Leo, while he is aimed at single target fights, he's still useful in AoE fights as long as you can burst one enemy down before the other. So he's still useful in many situations, and I think honestly he's just a fantastic character to grab. So now we come to the bit of the video that you've all been waiting for. Should you pull? Now, we've only got one banner that we have to talk about this week, and I think it's fairly obvious what people think what I'm going to say when it comes to this banner. Do I think you should pull on this banner? Yes, I do. I think it's a fantastic banner. I'm going to try and get away with only using tickets on it because I have a large surplus of tickets and I don't want to break over the cap. But honestly, if you were to get both of these characters, they would serve you well for a really long time. Galuf, there are tanks that can do his job. He is less... I'd say they were both really strong, but if I were to... If you've got Zac, if you're planning on picking up Snow, at some point next month, then maybe you could get away with not going for Galuf, but if you got him on the way to trying to grab Leo, I'd be really happy about it. It all depends on where your ingots are going as well. If you've already spent ingots on Vayne, on Cecil, on stuff like that, then the characters, you have to kind of count how many ingots you have available to you. But I will definitely be purpling Leo straight away. And if I have the ingots spare after I purple Gilgamesh, then I will go for Galuf as well. But Galuf is a really strong character for defensive purposes, and Leo is a really strong character for offensive purposes and defensive purposes. So yes, I think this banner is absolutely fantastic. They work well with Imperial Enchanters, particularly Galuf. If you bring Cecil and Galuf, or Onion Knight and Galuf, or Lulu and Galuf, they're going to do really well because the brave HP counters that Galuf brings will actually be enchanted, which is really nice. And Leo doesn't actually have any elements on his attacks either, so he will benefit from that. Leo is kind of like Beatrix, but the reason that I said to hold off on Beatrix is because Leo is kind of just better than her, because he brings all the delay and everything alongside all the defenses. So the best defense is a good offense, I guess. Beatrix is really good with Leo though, so if you have her like I do, then definitely pair the two up together and it'll work really nicely for you. Hopefully that has been really useful to you guys. I hope that you guys will go into the next event with a little bit more knowledge, and hopefully I can give you guys a bit more advice on the banners themselves. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the structure of this video as well, so hopefully when the next one comes out I'll have a little bit more variety on things to talk about and it'll be useful to you all. So thank you ever so much for watching, and don't forget to tune in this week for both the Chaos Roundup that's going to be here at the end of the week on Friday. If you want to see me pulling for Leo and Galuf, because Lord knows I'm gonna, then definitely check back in on the 15th on my Twitch channel, because I shall be doing so on there. And this Saturday I've also got my 12-hour Final Fantasy XIV stream that I would love it if you guys came along to, because you guys can tell me what to do, because I'm useless at that game, and it'll be good fun and we can all join in together. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell for notifications, and I shall leave you guys there. Thanks very much again. Farewell.